Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Handford, and my wife, Dennae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. On the podcast with us today is Dani Zoldan, and he is the co-owner of Stand Up New York. Welcome to the podcast, Dani.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Dani. We are looking forward to talking with you today, and we want you to get us started by just telling us a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and where your focus is today.
Sure. So I started my first business when I was 19 years old. I dropped out of NYU to start an online music company. It was called Eargazmic.com. That sounds like a porn site, but it's a music site. Eargazmic, EARGAZMIC.com. And it was an online music website where independent bands, could sign up and distribute and sell their music online. And then, so bands they each have their own webpage. They could post tour dates. They could sell their music. We called it MP3s back then. Their bio, photos. It was a great way for them to reach their fans. And then when I was 24, I started a telecommunications company. And we utilized voice over IP. That's basically routing phone calls over the internet. So phone companies used to route their long distance phone calls to my company. So I operated in about 100 different countries and completed long distance phone calls on behalf of phone companies. And then 10 years ago, while I was running my telecom business, I bought a comedy club called Stand Up New York. It's on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's been around for 32 years, and legendary comics like Seinfeld and Robin Williams and Ray Romano and Jon Stewart, Amy Schumer, they all used to frequent the club. And then after I bought Stand Up New York 7 years ago, we started a comedy podcast network. So we launched a bunch of comedy related podcasts. And then from there we started Skittish Media. That's a creative ad agency. So we utilize the comics to produce funny viral videos for brands and ad agencies. And then we just launched Stand Up New York Education, and that's online courses taught by comics. And lastly, we just launched the Laugh Pass, which is a $99 a year membership, and you get access to comedy shows across the country.
That's cool. So it tells us that you definitely have your hands in multiple pots and that you have definitely had many tough decisions along your journey.
I've had many tough decisions along my journey, yes. Do you want me to tell you the toughest decision?
Yeah, I want you to talk to us about the toughest decision you've ever had to make. And I want you to start us off with one that did not have that good of an outcome, like one that you spent a lot of time on, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You made the decision and it didn't have the outcome that you were expecting. And then some of the lessons that you learned through that one.
I guess buying the club 10 years ago, that was a tough decision, buying the club 10 years ago. And I guess I thought it would have been much easier to run. For some reason, I think things are easier than it actually is. So when I bought the club, I was 27 years old. I thought we'd be able to turn it around much quicker. And here we are 10 years later, and I'm still trying to, just make it the best possible club out there. So that outcome is not what I expected, that it would take so long until I found my footing and learned that business.
What do you think was the hardest thing during that transition and trying to take over that new business?
You know what? I was unrealistic. I thought I was able to run two businesses at once, or in two different industries. So I was running this telecom business and then this comedy club, which is obviously two very different types of businesses. And I thought I would be able to run both of them at the same time, where obviously that was not the case.
And so have you learned to kind of, delegate some of the tasks that need to be done in these different businesses so that both of them can continue to move forward?
Well, yeah, in the telecom business, I had a really good team overseas. Most of my employees were in Romania, and I had a few people in Germany. And I was able to delegate a lot of the day-to-day operations to them. And then the club, I have a very good staff there now, so I have someone there during the day, just making sure the office is running smoothly and dealing with customers and doing the liquor ordering and marketing. And then we have shows every night. So we have a manager that's there every night. So like my presence isn't needed there like all day long. The club's been running for 32 years. So I can go away for 6 months and the club will still be running probably for another 32 years if I had to leave.
What about, you had mentioned we mentioned in the beginning about you being the co-owner of that business. Are the other business owners in that comedy club active as well, like yourself?
Yeah, so Gabe Waldman, he's the one that I bought the club with. I went to high school with him. I know him since the 9th grade, one of my best friends. He did stand-up comedy, and I was more of the business guy. So we were able to get together, and when we heard his clubs for sale, we decided to buy it together. He's more involved on the comedy side. He's there every single night. He watches every single show. He's seen the same act like 50 times. Comedy, I'm more of like behind the scenes on the business side. And then a year ago, we brought on a third partner, James Altucher, his name is. He just brought a different perspective. He's super like entrepreneurial, outside the box thinker. So between the three of us, we all contribute just our own unique ideas to the business. We were very hesitant over the years to bring in a third partner, but James, we thought differently with him just because he's a very unique guy.
So you're the not so funny one.
Depends who you ask. James actually also doing stand-up. So yeah, I'm the only one not doing stand-up. I'm not doing stand-up.
Well, let's shift and talk about another tough decision that you've had to make as an entrepreneur that had a really good, positive outcome, or maybe even an outcome that was even better than you'd expected, and some of the lessons you learned through that.
So it's sort of related to my first answer. It was to leave my telecom business. And that was a very, very tough decision because it made money for me for a very long time. And then I just began to dislike that industry. It's a dying industry. People aren't paying for long distance phone calls as much as they used to. They're obviously using services like Skype and WhatsApp. So being in a business like that is dying, where you go to telecom conferences and everyone's talking about like how much time is left in the industry. I remember going to conferences like every 6 months, and yeah, the conversation would be, how much longer do you give this industry? We give it a year, 2 years. So that was very depressing. But again, we were still squeezing money out of the business. And then I decided a year and a half ago, I just woke up one day and I'm like, I got to make a decision. I don't like the telecom business, but it's making money. I got to make a decision. And I decided to sell my telecom business and just walk away it was 12 years of just contacts that I made in that business and just put everything into the comedy business. So that was a tough decision. I didn't think I was ever going to leave telecom just because it did really well for me for so many years. So walking away from that was very hard.
Let me ask you this. Are you glad that you made that decision? And do you think you should have made that decision sooner?
That's a good question. Yes. Yes, I should have made it like 2 years earlier or 3 years earlier. But it's really hard. Like the things holding me back from not leaving the industry was it was making money. So it's obviously hard to walk away from something that's making money. And then two, I developed these relationships with phone companies all around the world. I knew people at Verizon, AT&T, Sky, Vonage, China Telecom, Telecom Italia, phone companies in Africa and Middle East and South America. And I would go to conferences with them every few months. So I built up this huge network, contacts in the phone industry. So to walk away from all those people, that was hard. But I should have done it like 2 or 3 years earlier.
Dani, talk a little bit about the strategies that you use when you are facing a difficult decision.
So I have a very close friend of mine. His name is Dan also, actually. He's sort of like I call him my coach. He just has a really good perspective on things. So even if it's a new idea that I have that I'm very excited about, I go to him. I talk to him about it. If it's a tough decision, I go to him. So I guess I feel lucky to have someone that I can, go to talk about, something good going on or something bad. And then, besides talking to Dan, sometimes I change my environment. I'm in New York City, so there's plenty of like cool places to go here where you can distance yourself from the office, let's say. So I would go to like a roof deck, or there's a lot of hotels with like awesome like lobby bars. So I'll spend the day in like a lobby bar or spend the day on a roof deck and, just catch up on emails, listen to music. So just not going into the office for a day and just like disappearing is really good for me.
Just kind of clearing the mind and kind of focusing and just being able to kind of, make sure that you have that focus to be able to make that decision.
Yeah, I need to separate myself. But being in New York City, there's not so many. It's not like I can like take a drive and go to the country. It's 2 hours away. So I'll take the subway and go to a roof deck.
That's a great tip, especially for somebody who lives in a very densely populated area. It's harder to just get away and just drive like we've heard other entrepreneurs being able to do. So we're going to take a quick break here to hear from one of our show sponsors, and when we get back, we'll be talking about the trifecta, which is a series of quick questions and answers. Have you ever thought about investing in real estate but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HandfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HandfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HandfordCapital.com. All right, we are back with Dani Zoldan. This is our series of quick questions and answers that we call the trifecta. And I want you to talk to us about your favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier as an entrepreneur.
Todoist, have you heard of that?
What is it called?
Todoist.
No, I haven't heard that. That's a new one.
Todoist is awesome. It's a task list. It sits in my Gmail, and it's changed my life. So whenever I have a task that comes my way, whether a colleague asks me for something or if my wife asks me to pick up something at the supermarket, it always goes in Todoist. So I can schedule it accordingly by date, by time, by category. So if it's related to a certain business, like I could label it that business. It's also color coded. So I don't know if that little Todoist app counts as a technology, but
absolutely. And is that just for Gmail?
I don't know. I'm like an Android guy.
Sure.
So I haven't used an Apple anything in a very long time.
Okay. I'll do a little research on it as well and see if we can include something in the show notes as well for this.
Todoist is awesome, but like my Chromebook, my $300 Samsung Chromebook is the best. I don't get, people spend $2,000 on like a Mac. I have my $300 Chromebook. I walk around with a backpack every day, and the Chromebook is just a browser. There's no like hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of forces me to work in the cloud all the time, and it syncs up with my phone, so I can throw my Chromebook out the window now, and I'm good. I'll just buy another $300 Chromebook, and all my data is like there.
That's cool. And what's your favorite quote that you've heard that has helped you as an entrepreneur?
So I have a list of quotes here. Actually, they just pulled up. It's a little crazy. I have a spreadsheet. Every time I come across like a quote that I like, I put it in the spreadsheet.
Cool.
Have you ever heard that before?
I actually, my wife does that exact same thing. So, Yep. Even when we're on the podcast here and she has people that come up with their quotes and she hasn't heard it before, she'll put it in her list. All
right. So, do you want one or should I give you a few?
Give me the favorite one that always sticks out in your mind.
I don't know if I know a word for it, but Richard Branson had a quote: "Business ideas are like buses. There's always another one coming."
That's good.
I really like that. There's just like I'm like an ideas guy. There's always just like new ideas coming, and I just get really excited by them. So that's one of my favorite quotes.
Mm-hmm. And then what's your favorite book that has helped you as an entrepreneur?
What's it called? It's from the guys from Basecamp. Evernote?
Yes. Rework.
Yeah, that was excellent. That's one of my favorites.
So it's Rework by Jason Fried, and we'll include that on the show notes as well. So what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or your dream board?
So it's consolidating all the projects that I'm working on. The foundation is the comedy and the comics that we have access to. So we have stand-up, we have shows every night in our club. We have stand-up comics that come through the club every night. We have podcasters that come through our studios every day. We work with comedy writers that write for late night and SNL. So every business that we have is all related to comedy. So there's the club, there's a podcast business, there's education, that's online courses, there's Skittish, that's our creative ad agency, there's a Laugh Pass. Right now it's very like segmented. Each business is literally its own corporate entity. The next step is maybe putting it all under like one umbrella, or if not under one umbrella, just making it more like cohesive. Mm-hmm. So like you enter our website, let's say standupny.com, you can just see everything that we're working on within one site instead of having like 6 different websites. But everything has evolved just over time. So it's not like I woke up like 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, I want a club, I want a podcast business, I want to do online courses, I want to launch the Laugh Pass. Like over the past 10 years, all these ideas have evolved. But I'm at the point now where I want to combine them and just make it more cohesive so people get a better idea right away of exactly what we do.
And what's the best way for listeners to reach out to you if they want to follow you more or get some more information from you?
I mean, I'm always super accessible. My email, dani@standupny.com. Instagram, I'm a big Instagrammer. That's my full name, DaniZoldan. And then Twitter is @Zoldan.
Okay. And we'll include those on the show notes for our listeners as well. And I want to thank you so much, Dani, for coming on the podcast with us today and sharing all these insights that you've provided, and look forward to following you as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur and having on a future episode as well.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email, where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.